Welcome back for the next video. So this is where we're going to learn how to read a basic chord diagram or a chord chart. And like I say before, if this is useful to you, do me a favor, click like, click subscribe. That really does help with the whole algorithm thing. So just a quick review on this before we plow ahead. This is my left hand, right? If you saw the previous video, this is kind of a brief review. I'll keep it very brief though. Left hand, right? We don't count the thumb. Number 1 is your index. Number 2 is your middle finger. Number 3 is that one. And the pinky is number 4. So you've got that. So now we're going to move ahead to what we were supposed to be talking about today. This is how to read a chord diagram or a chord chart. And this is a picture of that same old Fender Strat of mine. And so this is a chord. This is an A minor chord. It tells me the name of it right here where I've got the cursor at. And you can see that this is basically a picture of this guitar neck. You have vertical lines on the chord chart. And you can even see how some of them are thicker than others. That's because this is the biggest string, the number 6 string. You remember the low E from the previous video? And this is your high E, the small string, the first string, the highest pitch string of all of them here. So, each one of these strings or lines, vertical lines, is a string on your guitar. These little gray things match right up with this picture over here. These are frets. These are strings. In here, these are frets. These are strings. You can see it. The black solid line up here at the top is actually the nut that's over here. And so the numbers that you see in the picture where the cursor is, that's your index finger, number 1, right? Here's your number 2 finger, your middle finger. Here's your number 3 finger. You can see how the numbers, they are specific fingers, right? And they're on specific strings. And they're just about a millimeter behind specific frets. Your index finger, your number 1 finger, is right here in between the nut and the first fret, just this side of the first fret. And you can see here how the second finger is on the 4th string, the D string. If you remember that from the previous video, it's just like a millimeter behind the 2nd fret. It's in between the 1st and 2nd fret. Same story for the 3rd finger. That's what this 3 is. And it's on the 3rd string. But of course the number 3 here is which finger you're using, not which string. The lines are the things that indicate what the string is. This is your G string. Again, it's on the 2nd fret, and it's in between the 1st fret and 2nd fret, just about a millimeter this side of it. This is your A minor chord. You'll see these zeros up here, that just indicates to play that string open, meaning that we're going to hit it with the pick when we go to strum it. But we're not going to have a finger on those, and you can tell that from the chord diagram, how there's no fingers on those strings, but they're still going to get played. This one that has the X on it, which is the number 6 string, the thickest, biggest string, the low E, it has an X above it, which means that when we go to strum it with our guitar pick, we're going to make sure that we don't hit that string with the pick. It's left out. If you're playing and you accidentally do, don't stop the song over it, whatever. Not that big a deal. You'll catch it next time. But ordinarily, try not to hit it, okay? And so kind of moving along here, this really just lays right over here on my guitar. You can see the index finger, how it's on the 2nd string, just like it indicates right here, in between the nut and the 1st fret. Oh, here we go. 1st fret, there's the nut. There's my index finger. And here's the other fingers. You got your 2nd finger on the 4th string, just like it says over here. Here's my 3rd finger on the 3rd string, just like it shows over here. And that's how that lays, okay? Exactly. You can see how those superimpose more or less, right? So I'm just going to give you a good visual of this. That's how that goes. You'll see all sorts of things like E minor, G, C, D, that kind of stuff. Those are good first chords to learn. You want to memorize these, okay? If you have a chord chart, you don't want to have to read this thing forever. You should know these. You should know them just like you know what 1 + 1 is without thinking too hard, right? So moving along, here's a picture of me holding a guitar upright and trying to play it. That's a very odd angle to play, but you can kind of see my fingers. They're in the exact same spot for an A minor chord. That's on one of my acoustic guitars. And then you can see there's another picture of me holding the guitar at a very awkward angle, trying to get a good angle for a photograph. And you can see how my index finger is on the second string and all of that lovely stuff. So that's how you read these. Hopefully this was useful to you. One more item. I think this would be good to know. You see how the fingers, all of the joints are very curled. That's really important because everybody has this chubby stuff on the pads of their fingers. And if you don't have your knuckles curled, especially the one that's closest to your index or to your fingernails, that chubby stuff will lay on strings that are just adjacent to the one that you're trying to push down and play. And so you'll just get a completely dead string. Oh, you know, one other item I really forgot to bring up was whenever you're putting your fingers in these on these strings and behind certain frets, you're actually trying to shove the string down hard enough to where it's sealed off on top of the metal fret. Okay? You don't have your finger on top of the metal fret, but you do apply enough pressure on top of the string or to the string so that it seals the metal string off on top of the metal fret. Okay? And you can tell from the pictures that my fingers are just about a millimeter away from the fret, but they're pushing down hard enough to get that string flattened out on top of those frets. If you don't do that, they'll sound dead. It'll be a clunk, clunk, clunk kind of noise rather than the string making a nice, clean sound and singing to you. You know what I mean? So anyhow, that's basically the skinny on how to read a chord chart. I'll probably give you a few more tips on proper finger position and thumb placement. Probably do that in the next video. If you found this useful to you, you know, please like, subscribe. That does help with the algorithm. I do appreciate all that, and we'll see you guys in the next video. So